Hello, everybody. Thank you and welcome back to Soul Purpose Leaders. I am so grateful and I'm so happy to be here today for this an amazing guest that we have. And before I can go so far, is that we are here to actually celebrate and also to actually showcase leaders who are doing so much for themselves, but for also for other people. And they are remarkables. They have their own story and they can actually do some good, but also for yourself, but for the people that needs it most. And this is why we're here. Now, today, we have our fantastic man here. His name is Sunny E Isuekebhor. I hope I said it correctly. And thank you. Sunny is an international keynote speaker, leadership coach, project expert, and preacher. An alumnus of a prestigious University of Liverpool, England. He is the author of Turning Every Leader into a Star. I love that. Which he was identified by Amazon as a one new release in our Outsourcing in April 2020. Wow, congratulations. Sunny is one of the best speakers in the world today. You just need to hear him speak to know that this is no exaggeration. Guys, there's no exaggeration. You need to check him out. Now, I am so happy and I'm so grateful to announce this amazing leader, Sunny. Thank you for coming and thank you for joining here today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
The pleasure is all ours because we are so happy that you're here and we want to know as much as you can give us today. So, Sunny, you've done so much.
All right.
You've done so much in your life, but I want you to actually remember what age were you when you decide to actually do something meaningful to your life?
Okay. I would say that, greetings to the audience. I would say that I began to find myself, find my purpose when I was in my late teens in high school. I was about to get out of high school. That was when I began to discover my personal purpose as someone who was born to speak. I moved from being afraid to speak to audiences to being able to stand before people and speak my mind as long as I knew I was speaking on a just cause. I would say I was 17 when I discovered on the speaking lane. No.
17 years old. Wow, that's amazing. As a teenager, what made you go and find out about speaking? Or where did you see it?
Okay. I have heard a lot of people speak, preachers, public speakers, keynote speakers. Speaking, I discovered as a young boy that I liked watching very good speakers. I enjoyed watching them. I enjoyed their mannerisms on the platform. I enjoyed how they delivered their speeches to the people. But I discovered that when it was time for me to speak, when I was speaking to people that I knew, people that I was acquainted with, I was comfortable. But when it was time to speak to strangers, especially if it's a group of strangers, then there was a problem. So I battled with it for a long time until I met a young man in high school with me. He was 1 year. So I followed him and watched him as he spoke to audiences on the high school campus. And as time went by, I began to develop my own personal style and character. And I got to the point where I was bold enough to speak to an audience by myself. Once I did it for the first time, I knew deep within that this was what I was born to do, because I felt so from that time, actually, when I began to speak, the things that usually scared me made me bold. For instance, I used to be concerned about strange faces. Now The stranger the faces, the more eloquent I speak. I used to be scared by the numbers of people. Now, the larger the crowd, the more opulent my delivery. So those things that used to turn me off now turn me on. So when I get the microphone and I stand before people, even if there are 1,000 or 10,000 and I never met anyone before, it matters not. I speak away because I was born to speak. I enjoy speaking, and I know the power of speaking. I know that speaking changes people. That's why I speak. I believe in the power of words. I believe in the power of people, and the capacity of people to speaking produces change, positive change in people.
Wow, that's beautiful and amazing determination as a person to have that within you to come out and actually share it. Now, it's also, I know that you are a preacher. So what came out first? As a preacher or as a speaker, as a motivational?
I think preacher came out first. Preacher came out first, and I focused on preaching. And as time passed, I began to realize that this coin has two faces. So one face is the face of the preacher, the other face is the face of the speaker. So I locked into that because I learned from one of my foremost mentors, Dr. Miles Monroe, that if you discover that you have been gifted by God with multi-talents, then you maximize all of your potentials, all of your talents. So once I discovered that there was a keynote speaking facet, two began to do it. So preaching came on first, preaching first, then speaking later. But I think
Wow.
the preaching powered on this. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh my goodness. And this started from your teens to where you are right now. Now, what made you to actually saying to yourself, okay, I've been preaching, but now I want to move and I want to make changes to self-development people. So what made that change? What attracted you?
Okay. That's a good question. First of all, like I said, I began to preach in high school because I was attracted to a young man, one year of me in school. His name was Charles. And then when I graduated from the high school and gained admission into the university, that was when I began to see speaking as a second passion because in my course, I studied mechanical engineering for my first degree in one of the best schools in Nigeria. And in my class, I was considered as the most eloquent student. As a matter of fact, when we were graduating, we did a yearbook. And in the yearbook, we did awards. And in the awards, who is the best student for this, who is the best student for that? I was chosen as the most eloquent student. Why? Because during our period, a 5-year period on the campus, whenever there was a need to address the class on behalf of fellow classmates, I was the one that always had the guts to do it. And even when I didn't want to do it, I was persuaded by fellow classmates to say, come on, Sonny, we know you can speak about this thing, speak about it. So in university, yes, the passion to speak in corporate circles, non-governmental entities, and in other locations that are secular that may not be primarily in the church where I preached was born right there on the university campus. So in high school, preaching was born. In university, speaking was born.
Amazing. And then, so when did you actually say, you know what, I'm going to even push it further and make a business into this now?
Okay, that would be about a decade ago because before that time, all of the speaking I did was free. I spoke for free because, like I said, I'm passionate to speak. I enjoy speaking. When I speak, I feel satisfied because I have impacted the lives of people. I've impacted the lives of girls and boys and men, women, and people leave the audience becoming better people, becoming better individuals in their lives, in their careers, wherever they were. So initially, from when I began speaking in the university up until about 10 years graduating from the university, I spoke just for free. I did not talk about any fees. I did not expect any fees. Whenever there was an opportunity to speak, I went there and I speak. And up till this time, because of my passion for speaking, I still speak for free. A lot of times when organizations are having programs, especially maybe a non-governmental organization that is pursuing a just cause that strikes a chord with me, I go there and I speak for them for free. So I still speak for free, but after that, to realize that this is something that I'm so passionate about, and I have the right to tap potential to produce the power of currency, because the world is run on currency. You had need money to do lots of things. That is when I'd say about 10 years ago, it began to dawn me that this is the time to begin to charge for speaking. So to preach, I never charge. Up until I die, I preach for free. But to speak, I talk about charges. But if the cause is a non-governmental cause, a charity, and I see that their finances are not really on their side, I go there, I speak for free, just for my tea fare, and I'll be there. And sometimes I have also paid for my own transportation to go and speak for in a place where I know that I won't be paid a pound or a dollar. I go there because I'm passionate about skin. I know the people have a good cause that they're sowing, and I want to be a contributor to the thing that they're doing in that non-governmental organization or charity. I go there to speak for them for free. So, but in terms of corporate organizations, companies, firms, businesses, yes, I charge a fee, and on my website, see that I indicate that prices vary because I am pragmatic, I'm flexible, because the heart of a preacher that I have, I'm compassionate. I cannot have a fee. I cannot say a small business should pay $10. A government or a Fortune 500 company should pay $10. So I deal with organizations based on the level of that organization. So I can speak today for 1 hour, pour out my soul, pour out my heart, speak relievingly for $10, and then 1 week later I'm speaking the same kind of speaking, the same power, but I'm charging $100. So my fee varies. I move into the organization because I know there will be people that say, oh, we like Sonny, we want him to speak for us, but his fees are too high, so he cannot speak for us. But the purpose of my speaking is not money. The purpose of my speaking is my passion. That is why in my organization, we say the price varies. If you are a Fortune 500 company, if you are a state government, or if you are a mayor, you pay more than if you're a business owner, just an organization that start up and have money for fee. Sometimes we even ask, what is your budget? When it's a small company, what is your budget? And I say, oh, it's too small, we are embarrassed. I say, don't worry about it. Tell me what you budgeted for the speaker. And they say the figure. I say, why not? That's okay. I'll do it for you. So that's how I work. That's how I roll.
That's amazing, because being flexible in this line of work, it's needed. At the same time, it's also understanding about what others are different from every corner of life. Now, that is amazing. Now, I also wanted to push it to, okay, you've done the preaching, you've done the speaking. Now, were you moving into the leadership coaching and project expert? Are those totally different parts of your career, or is it the same?
Okay, it's a good question. I think they are coordinated and connected because, primarily speaking, my passion is to speak. But I have a master's degree in project management from the University of Liverpool, England. I love the field of project management, and I love leadership. I'm in leadership positions for a long time. Like I talk about turning every leader into a. I am passionate, really passionate about leadership, and very passionate too about project management. So I am passionate about the two, but in general terms, I speak depending on the subject that is given to me, whether you want to speak project management or a similar subject like change management or people management, or you want me to speak on leadership, I am able to run with either because I am multi-talented. Many of fellow speakers, they are specialists in speaking about particular fields. Some speakers speak only about a particular field. Some other speakers speak one or two different domains. But I speak about many domains because speaking for me comes naturally. I don't need to prepare to speak per se. I don't need 1 month or 2 months notice if I'm going to speak, whether I'm going to speak tomorrow to the United Nations or to the US White House. If you give me 2 days before my speech, I will deliver it as if I knew 2 years ago that I was going to speak. That's how powerfully and authoritatively, but yet compassionately I speak. So project management to me is a passion. I love project management because I like things being initiated in my presence and then developing and executing and being executed and being monitored and being controlled and finally being delivered and the project being closed and signed off as completed. I love management, and then I love leadership because I see that in our world there are too few good leaders in the world. The world is starved of true, genuine leadership. So one of my positions in life is to help people see that good leadership is not complicated. Because many times we look at our world leaders, our politicians, and some executives in corporate organizations, they make it seem leadership is so complicated, laborious. But I know that leadership is not complicated. It is simple. And that is one of the purposes of my book, turning every leader into a star. I make it simple. Show leadership in simple but yet profound ways. So people can say, wow, leadership is not that complicated at all. I can do it. Those are for aspiring leaders. Then who are the leaders say, wow, leadership is not as complicated as I have always thought. I can do it better as a leader. That is my purpose.
I love that because, yes, there are some people who are born leaders, and there are some people who needs to learn leadership skills to actually be that leader star. Because, and this is why in life, especially with what we are doing and what we want is the growth of self growth, but also other people's growth. Now, what made you to actually think of like, oh my goodness, you know what? I'm going to write a book.
Okay. Yeah. Beautiful question. To being an author. I think they are connected. So it's a very brilliant line of question that you're giving me here. My book, when people ask, why do you write turning a leader into a star, answers people, because I tell them, I wrote it because I was tired. And they say, wow, Sonny, you were tired. Yes, I was tired. That's why I wrote the book. So what is it that I was tired with, or that made me tired about what's happening in the world? Number one, I was tired of leadership being portrayed as something only for a select few, because leadership is for everyone. The more leaders have in the world, the better our world will become. Whether the people lead 5,000 people or they lead 2 people, they are leaders and they should see themselves as leaders. So I was tired of the portrayal, the erroneous portrayal as of leadership as something for a few. I was also tired of the design of school curriculum, because I told you I did my first degree in mechanical engineering in Nigeria, my second degree in project management at the University of Liverpool in England. I know from research that leadership is not taught as a subject of its own in high schools all over the world, in universities all over the world. So leadership many times can only be studied as a sort of its own when you do a master's or you do a PhD. And how many human beings go for PhDs? Less than 1% of humans. So I was tired of designs of school columns leaving out leadership as if it was something that could not bend. I was tired of that because I believe that the fastest learners in the human race are kids in high schools. And we complain that they are not good in our world. Why are we not teaching leadership to students in high schools and secondary schools all over the world? So that's the second reason I was tired. The third thing that made me tired was my fellow leadership experts. Not all of them, some of them. I was tired of leadership experts writing books and articles about leadership and using language that would seem to suggest that every leader has a master's degree or a PhD in leadership, because people are bombarded with complex leadership definitions, complicated leadership acronyms, and a lot of big leadership jargons and technologies. So when they finish reading a typical leadership book, rather than thinking about how to lead they find themselves trying to remember what they thought they learned from that book. And that's a disaster. So I wrote my book to change the narrative. Leadership, when you're done with reading leadership book, if you're not reading within a university campus, if you're reading as a personal development book, once you're done, you should be shouting, come on, I can lead. Yes, I can do this. I can put this into, I can practice this. I can follow this illustration. So my idea of leadership is that it can be taught, and people do not need to be addressed as if everyone is already familiar with leadership boards, and we talk about styles of leadership, leadership theories. All of these are when you're talking to an academic audience, when the audience are scholars. The audience is made up of scholars, people who are brilliant, who know leadership, come to us, and all complicated that. When you're talking to human beings, who of them have not had the privilege to enter a university course or lives, but yet they are leaders. They are leading men, they are leading this, they are leading lead. So that is why in my book, I make it simple, but yet profound. Simple pictures, simple illustrations, simple words, so that you see leadership is simple, but yet is profound. So those are 3 reasons. There are more, but those 3 reasons, I was tired.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And that is the truth about leadership, because if you go to either in Africa or the way we were used to think that leaders are supposed to have some kind of hierarchy, some kind of higher powers than any normal person. And actually now slowly things are kind of like coming down in a way, saying anyone or anything can be possible. All you need to do is just open your mind and learn something. Now, for a person who may be going in not a good way of life, like for example a 17-year-old, okay, and they're feeling that uncertainty of life, what is that message you would like to share to that child who's starting up and they want to have amazing lifestyle but they don't know? What would you want to share with them?
Okay. I would say to the young teenager that life is always going to be challenging. It is challenging for everyone, including those who refuse to acknowledge that life is challenging. Every human being needs help along the way, including those who have received help but yet say they have never been helped. I have people brag, nobody has ever helped me in my life. Everything I have achieved, I achieved all by myself. Lies. Every human being receives help sometimes. So I will tell them, be who can help you. And then, in addition to that, I will tell them to try to find themselves, to try to discover what they were born to do, what they were created, because many people think that work is the same thing as purpose, but it's not always the same. There are only very few people who have the privilege of doing a work that they were born to do. So there were people who go work every day, come back home, they live in London, but they aren't fulfilled. Why? Because their work is not connected to their purpose. So I am saying that people are in a particular situation. From that, I say, find out your leisure. Find something that is bigger than yourself, that you are passionate about, and lock into it. Because when young people don't find themselves, then aspire to unrealistic dreams. For instance, if you ask a lot of young people, what do you become? They say, I want to become Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, or I want to become Usain Bolt. But we know that these people, their legend is so high that only less than 1% of teenagers who aspire to them can really beat them. So what happens to the 99%? They will have horrible lives because they will be able to have something to pursue. So it is very important for young teenagers to find out what you want to do. How do you know that? What you love to do? I told my story. I love to watch people speak. What you love is a clue to what you were born to. What you're always thinking can be done better. That's another clue. You're watching something, maybe you're watching a podcast, and every time you watch a podcast, you're always thinking, oh, she could have done this better. He could have done better. This could have been arranged a little bit. What you're always seeing things of points of improvement about, that's a clue. what you love, that's a clue. So you can't find what you were born to do. When you find, you will be happier in life. So that even with the bad challenge like one of faces, you will allow your purpose to be like a protection for you. Yes, the world is hard. Yes, things are difficult. Yes, I face rejections and appointments, but I know what I was born to do. I know that if I keep pursuing this thing, I will eventually achieve great success. So that would be some of the advice that I will give to a teenager who's struggling in our world today.
Thank you so much for your message. And do you have anything that's coming up in the near future?
Okay, I have a leadership training that is coming up, which can people can register for it on Eventbrite. And it's also connected to my link profile. I want to do a leadership training that be different because, like I said, people go into a leadership training and then they come out, they can't lead. They went into the training. After the training, they're still exactly the way they were certificate of completion of the leadership seminar, the leadership training. I want to do leadership training from a different perspective. I want to show people leadership on their bodies. Yes, the human being in the skies, in the forest, in the dog that is running in front of the street. I want to show people that we human beings are surrounded leadership clues. So my leadership seminar is coming up very soon. It's going to be in October, and people can register for it on Eventbrite. I didn't send that link when you asked for link. I do 3 links already: my book, my website, and my what's it called? My book. I will send a 4th link for people who to register for my leadership training. And what I say is this: if you attend my leadership training, 4 days leadership training, 1 hour per day, different topics for each day. Once we are done, people know you with significant difference because I will show leadership in simple but yet and you will become a leader. You will get on the road to becoming a star. I believe every leader can become a star. And when I say star, I don't mean Hollywood stars because some of them don't fit so my definition of leadership. I mean star in the way I define it in the last chapter of my book.
I love that, and that's really amazing. Where do you hang out? What platform that you feel at home and you're always there that people can reach you? Which one is it, and what is it?
The best for me is LinkedIn. I visit LinkedIn so many times in a day. So if you send me a message, it will take a maximum of 3 hours. And I've seen it. But if you send a message, say be on Facebook, on Instagram, may not even see it for days. But LinkedIn is, I call it work media, not social media, it's work media. So for me, I use it for work. So I always go there quite frequently, a minimum of 6, 7, 8 times in a day. I'll be on LinkedIn, checking, saying, maybe making a post to a client, a post or responding to a client, or trying to get a new client for my speaking or for my personal activity because I do developing the personal development coaching, like coaching, relationships coaching, happiness coaching. I do about 6 different kinds of coaching. So LinkedIn for me is my number one point when you talk about social media. You send me a message there or send me a connection request, instantly I'll be responding.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sunny, for today. And I am so grateful that you're here and actually share your knowledge and your
Thank
wisdom.
you for having me. Thank
Oh,
you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. And I want to ask you the last question is that would you come
Okay.
back next time?
Yeah, I will check my calendar because I have quite a number of invitations from different parts of the world, Bahama, So I'll check my calendar and see if I can fit you in. And I hope to, once international travel resumes, I'll be coming to speak in England. So probably I'll be able to have opportunity to speak to some of the people that you lead. I know you lead, you lead Muslim women, entrepreneurs in England. So when restrictions and if it is gone for good, I'm sure that we can connect, so I can have the opportunity to speak to your audience in England.
Thank you so much. And that would be fantastic. I can't wait. And for everybody else out there, whoever's listening, this man, okay, can travel the world to speak in your, either with your own people or with your own companies or even organizations. He's ready, and he's doesn't need time to get ready, because you just need to tell him when and where, and he's going to be there. And yes, as the man said, he's on LinkedIn. So I will put his all his links on where to get in touch with him. And also the LinkedIn will tell you where and when to actually go and book in for the leadership course that he's doing. And I want to say thank you so much, Sunny. And is there anything you want to share before we close for today?
Well, I'll just say to your audience that we live in difficult times. Things that used to be taken for granted by us humans, like handshakes, hugs, holding hands, have become suddenly dangerous. So it's a difficult time. Too many people love their jobs. They followed. It's been challenging. So I'm hoping by God things will get better for everyone. If you have lost your job, I know it's challenging. Don't give up. Keep holding hope. I hope and pray that something comes to you soon. And those people sadly lost loved ones, that's even worse. That's so much worse than the job situation. Is I express my condolences to you, and I hope that the solution is quickly a cure, a treatment, a vaccine for coronavirus, so that our world get back to the way it was before. Because every one of us will agree that the world was better before COVID-19. Let's get back to the way we were before the virus hit our world. So cheers, thanks for having me, and I wish you all an evening in beautiful United Kingdom. God bless you.
God bless you too. And I mean to that all what you've actually prayed for everybody else out there. And thank you to everyone, whoever is listening or watching. This is an amazing platform that we can actually share what is real and who these people are working on and what they're actually impacting on others. Now, thank you so much. And I hope to see you soon. Take care, everybody.